and welcome to another episode of the Hood Grace Podcast. It's your boy, Reverend Rudy Rubio of the Reformed Church of Los Angeles here in the city of Lynwood. And today I got a special guest. I got my brother, my homie, Carlos Loso, Bedoya, from Florida. I'm going to let him introduce himself, even though I really don't think he needs any introduction. The brother is humble, though. But please, Los, tell us who you are, man.
Greatest, no,
No, you are. Hey, but you are, bro.
man, I'm, you know what I'm saying? My name is Loso. I am 1/4 of the battle rap group called the Horsemen. We're all residing in different parts of the country, but I'm in Tampa, Florida, man. Been battle rapping for about 5 years now. Been doing music around the same time. And so, I've been able to have a platform that I'm able to travel across the country. And, the Lord has been faithful in elevating my platform to a place where I get to go ahead and impact others. So, like I said, I've been doing that for about 5 years now. Puerto Rican, Colombian, man. So I'm here, bro, and I'm glad to be on a podcast.
Puerto Rican, Colombian.
Yeah.
I don't think I know too many Puerto Rican Colombians. I know Puerto Ricans. I know gang Colombians. I know a whole lot of Mexicans, but not too many Puerto Rican Colombians.
In Florida, there's a ton of them.
Yeah, really.
Puerto Rican Colombians, yeah.
Now, do you remember the first time I had any interaction with you? You probably don't, bro. You like mega famous now.
Was it Facebook?
Yeah. So I planted this church. I want to say about a little bit over 3 years ago, and at about the same time, it was January, February of 2017. There was an old Reformed church in Tampa, in the what's the name of the area? It's near the airport. They extended me an invitation to come out and be the pastor at this church, First Reformed Church of Tampa. But about the same time, we were in the process of planting this church here in the hood, right, in Lynwood, California, the Reformed Church of LA. And I remember reaching out to you to maybe get some kind of like, just some, on the ground information about Tampa. But you had said that you had just moved to like St. Peter's or Petersburg or St. Prince, something like that. I think you had said.
Oh, Newport Richie.
Newport Richie, there you go. I knew it was some kind of like high royalty name, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I was like, nah. We ended up staying planting here in the hood, bro. It was too comfortable to move out there, and my heart's here in the hood, man.
I was teaching, actually. I got a teaching job out there.
Okay.
Out there, so that's why I was out there. But yeah, I do remember that conversation.
And you're back in Tampa now.
Yep.
Okay. What part of Tampa are you at?
Oh, Port Tampa, South Tampa. Yep.
Tampa,
So
South Tampa.
we have a base MacDill Air Force Base. So
Okay. Tell us about you personally. Like, married, kids? I know the answer, I think, but everybody else want to know.
I don't have kids, bro, but hopefully soon, bro. But yeah, been married for about 4 years. Hopefully she's not watching that. I had to think about it. No, I'm going on 4 years. So it'll be 4 years in July. Come from a single parent household, originally from Queens, New York. Not too many people know that. So originally from Queens, New York, and then I moved to Florida.
Okay.
Obviously, that's why I rep Tampa, Florida, because that's kind of where I learned how to. That's where I learned how to rap. That's where I had my first fight at. That's where I had my first girlfriend at. Like everything that kind of molded me. This is where I came to know Christ. All of it happened in Florida. So, so that's that's pretty. As far as the groundwork and whatnot, as far as denomination, grew up Pentecostal. Then
that's all Latinos, bro. All of us.
Right?
Pentecostal, charismatic, or Catholic,
Yeah. And then I accepted Spurgeon into my heart, and then.
But I hope you didn't stop at Spurgeon.
No, I did it. It's just that
Spurgeon's great, but that's just like the beginning. You know what I mean?
I accepted Spurgeon into my heart, and then after that, became Reformed Baptist, and then became a Presbyterian, man. So we had a church split at that time. So I was looking for a denomination to kind of be a part of. And one of my boys, he was part of a Presbyterian church. I was like, bro, I don't want to go there. It's like nothing but like old
white people.
Out there. It's like that. I didn't want to, I didn't really know if I would be able to affect
assimilate
anyway. Yeah. And so what ended up occurring is I meet with the pastor at the time, and he was just such a dope dude, man. Like, we were able to build such a great relationship that I was like, yo, you know what, man, let's link up, bro. So we linked arms. and I was there for about 5 years.
Wow.
And since then, now currently I'm at a non-denominational church, but still, obviously for me, still Presbyterian, and even the church that I kind of, we have about, I want to say that we are definitely non-denominational in practice and stuff. We don't baptize babies, but theology solid and stuff like that. So it's good.
Hold on. You know where I'm at. I already tell you where I'm at. Hold on. Give me
It's like a every 5 minute thing for you, huh?
Bro, literally right here, it's like I live 3 blocks away from the church, from my church, and 3 blocks away from where we're currently hosting church services. We're doing a drive-in service because of COVID. We can't be in the building, you know. So I just preach like on the back of a flatbed truck, and everybody's in their cars, you know. But all that to say that I don't know how many Sundays. I think I can count on one hand how many Sundays we've had where we haven't had to stop preaching. You know what I mean? Because of this. Like it was another one. You know what I mean? Or the ghetto bird. You know what a ghetto bird is, right?
Oh, that chopper?
The helicopters. Yeah, man. Just like all over the place right here. You know. But tell me about the transition. You go from coming from a Pentecostal background to you accept aspersion into your heart. You're Calvinistically saved now. How did that work from going to like Pentecostal to Reformed Baptist to just being like Presbyterian Reformed?
Yeah, so I didn't grow up in the church, you know what I'm saying? But my mom, so when I say I grew up Pentecostal, like that was what she was on at the time. That was the church that we were associated with. What ends up happening around 18, 19 years old, I'm on YouTube one day, randomly just watching a video, bro. Randomly just watching a YouTube video. And it's a video of Paul Washer talking about the holiness of God.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this is hitting me like it's never hit me before. I've heard, the gospel before, but this time it was just making sense. And obviously you and I know that's just the Holy Spirit working. So boom. Um, from that day, I remember just asking God, yo, can you please send some like people who look like me, who talk like me, who's been where I'm, where I've came from. And so this is where I've met with, are you familiar with KB?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I don't know him, but I definitely know of him.
We're like 19 years old and we met each other. We had some mutual friends. We ended up meeting. And from there, we actually built a community called HGA at the time. And from there, I would say I started getting discipled in solid truth. And so we were big fans of John MacArthur at the time. And so big fans of like R.C. Sproul. He was in our backyard. He wasn't too far from us, about an hour and some change. And so anything that was attached to that, we just kind of just ran to. Any deep theological truths we were on that. We were doing our own Bible studies and stuff. And so, like I said, we were quote unquote Reformed Baptists. We just knew we just loved the Bible at the time.
Yeah.
So transitioning over, like I told you the story when I had a church split at the time, I was part of a church that ended up just leaving. A lot of people just went in different directions, but one of the guys that I was close to, that I trusted, he had went to a Presbyterian church and invited me to it. And that's kind of what sparked my interest. Really, it was how they dealt with church, their church government. So the section, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, I mean, the teaching pastor wasn't the dictator in the church, you know what I'm saying? And that kind of really, at least for me, encouraged me to, this is a safe place. This is a safe spot that I could be at, that I could do ministry in, I could grow a family in. So that was the start of it. That was the transition.
Hey, somebody said we got some echo. Can you lower your phone a little bit more, the volume, or is it all off?
It's all the way off, but it's actually all the way. It's weird because it's down, but I still see like a
little sound. Well, we'll make the best of it. We'll make the best of it. So, tell me about, or tell us about, like, how did you get saved, man? You didn't grow up in the church. Your mom was Pentecostal. You from New York to Tampa. Like, how did that happen?
I would say that video, that Paul Washer video.
That's what that video.
Oh yeah. Because prior to that, I was just around certain Christian things. You know what I'm saying? So I was in a Pentecostal church, but I had no heart for the Lord or nothing like that. So when I saw that video, that video, I tell people all the time, that was really the start of like this hunger towards the things of the Lord and stuff. So it was that YouTube video. And then obviously, you know, for anybody's story of their conversion as they kind of like move forward in their walk, there's always these checkpoints that you kind of look back and say, man, you know what? This is when I was growing in grace here. And then this happened and this trial happened. And so there's a bunch of different things, but I would say definitely the starting point was that YouTube video that I stumbled upon, which I wouldn't say I just stumbled upon. I would say like, yo, my life was interrupted that day. So
Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's good. Mine happened in the prison cell on my knees crying out to God. I was just done, you know. I'd done almost 13, 14 years in prisons by the time I became a true believer. And somebody's saying something about these headphones. Hold up. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to have Instagram and Facebook at the same time, but oh well. Hopefully that helps. Somebody else said no echo, so it's probably the person who's listening. But what was your biggest struggles, like going from a Reformed Baptist to Presbyterianism? Like that's a big deal, you know. Did you have any struggles with that? Any challenges in that theology as you were doing that?
and not from you talking about Reformed Baptist to Presbyterian?
Yeah.
That was crazy. I didn't, bro. I did not have any struggle with that whatsoever. Nor was my transition difficult. The big transition was the people I grew up with around, which was Pentecostal, and then transitioning to Reformed theology. That was the struggle for me.
Yeah.
That was, unfortunately, people stop breaking bread with me, you know, and then, you know, whenever you first get on this truth, you're just like this, like jerk to everyone. Like you're like this zealot, like, I gotta tell you these truths and whatnot, thinking you're the first one to come across from it, and you're really not. But so I wouldn't say the Reformed Baptist to the Presbyterian was difficult at all. What was difficult for me was Pentecostal to Reformed theology.
Okay, I got you. See, and for me, in my culture, being Mexican, man, just going from leaving Roman Catholicism, right, to Christianity is a big deal. It's almost like you're bailing on your culture, like how dare you go be one of them Alleluias? You know what I mean? Like I lost a lot of, I lost a lot of family, a lot of friends when I left the hood behind in prison and gave my life to the Lord. You know, I think one of my biggest struggles, Los, was just who I was. I didn't know who my identity was anymore. You know what I mean? I thought I was a punk. I thought I was a coward. Like I walked away from the hood. I remember writing to my wife and telling her that. And she was like, that's the bravest thing you've ever done. Finally putting me and the kids first. You know what I'm saying? But I know when I came to true Reformed theology, one of the biggest struggles for me was infant baptism, right? It was like, oh, that's Roman Catholic. That's this, that's that. And even after I studied and my mind kind of put the dots together, I still had a hard time for my heart to embrace it. You know what I mean? And now it's like I bang that like every 3 or 4 posts, like baptize your babies. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a big deal. It's covenant theology. Like God is our God to us and to our children. You know. So tell me about the church where you're at now. It's a non-denominational church, but the theology is where? Like what camp does it land in, if it even lands anywhere?
Yeah, I would say definitely Reformed. You know, expository preaching exegetical preaching every week. I actually function as a teaching pastor there.
Okay.
So majority is definitely a Latino church, but same thing. It's all in English, the sermon, but we do try to incorporate some Spanish songs here and there.
Okay.
But yeah, they were actually a church plant. I want to say maybe about a year and a half, maybe 2 years before I got there. And so we had just met through some mutual friends. They were looking to expand. We were looking to kind of join a spot. My wife and I, we were looking to join a spot where we could kind of like utilize our gifts. And so when we linked arms with them, it was kind of like a perfect mesh, man. You know, they were really into reaching young adults, and that's kind of where I feel like I'm more effective too, young adults, college age, and stuff like that. And so, been there for about 4 years now. So we're going on 4 years, and but yeah, you know, we're kind of, you know, our motto is trying to be a church not just in the city but for the city. And so we're in what you would call Ybor City. Well, we're transitioning now, but wherever we're at in Tampa, we just want to make sure that we got our fingerprints over certain things, and that's feeding the homeless, that's hurricane shelter relief, whatever we could kind of do to kind of be the hands and feet, as well as what we're talking about on Sundays.
Yeah, I wanna push a little bit into that to flesh that out a little bit. I'm really big in being against people in our theological camp that that are sometimes more concerned with being right than doing anything with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we like to say that our theology has to go from our head to our heart to our hands, right? One of my brothers at church, Mr. Firme Martin, if he's listening right now, shout out to you. He likes to say that our theology has to have feet. Like, it's got to do something with it. It's got to go. Like Christ said, go. You know, not just to sit there and want to preach at a conference or want to sit there and just do like to really take our theology into the city to impact our community. Because if not, what good does it do, right? You know, we're really engaged with our community here too. So it's been a big draw for people looking for a minority-led church, a church that kind of looks like them, like you were talking about, and isn't just worried about being right and preaching good expository sermons, but actually doing something with it. You know what I mean? And impacting the community. Tell us about the battle rap. Like, how'd you get into that, bro?
I was just going to segue into that because one of the most practical ways that I try to make sure I'm hands and feet is with that genre that I'm a part of. So obviously I grew up on battle rap. Growing up, you know, I remember being 13 years old watching a guy named Murder Mook and stuff like that. So I was so huge on what battle rap was for the hip hop culture. What ends up occurring in 2013, I want to say, I started getting involved in music, and what I did, I actually joined a competition. It was like a 16 bar competition, and when I did it, it was my first time. Never had done anything like it, but I just knew I wanted to write verses with punchlines and metaphors. Well, hundreds of people submitted their, like a video to try to get into the tournament. Only 10 people were chosen. Long story short, I ended up winning the whole tournament. Wow. First time I ever did it. Ended up winning the whole tournament. And MC Jin, who is a big, he's a big battle rapper back in the day, 106 in Park, all that stuff, and obviously he's a believer now. He was the judge. He was one of the judges for that event, and he comes up to me and says, "You need a battle rap. You should be battle rapper." And I was like, "Nah, bro, I could never do what they do." That's what I thought. After that, I started doing like these spoken words at certain cafes and certain open mic situations, and every time I got off stage, they were like, "Yo, your mannerisms remind me of a battle rapper." I said, "Man, you know what? I tell people all the time, I wish one morning I just woke up and said, yo, I just want to impact that culture. That's what I want to do." But that wasn't it. I scratched it off my bucket list. That's what it was. It was just a bucket list thing that I wanted to accomplish. Yeah, let me just see if I could do it. So I did it. I reached out to a local league in Tampa, and I sent them a message and I said, "Hey, I'm interested in battle rapping." He said, "Okay, can you send me some footage? Like some footage of you rapping?" And so I told him, "Okay, I don't really have much, but these are just some clips of me like doing some freestyles and some spoken words." I sent the video. 10 minutes later, he writes me back, "Where the hell have you been?" And so he sets me up with a battle. And long story short, with that battle, I end up winning that battle. And the ripples effect of that battle, my first battle, was so such a big deal within our city and the culture that I could not just do it one time. I had to battle again. And ever since that day, man, I was just, put in certain situations. And obviously I knew what type of rapper I was. I mean, I knew what my worldview was going to obviously infiltrate my lyrics. But ever since that day, like, things were just perfectly lining up to elevate me to a position where it was like, yo, you got to watch out for this kid. Like, he's the next thing up. And so, out of the 4 years that they've been kind of like ranking battlers, whether it was the Source magazine or there's another big outlet called Champion, since 2017, they've been doing it. 2016, I guess. So for the last 4 years, out of the three out of the 4 years, I've been ranked 11th, 12th, and 11th out of 20,000 battlers in the world. You know what I'm saying? So as you know, like I'm able to kind of compete on a high level while still making sure that my faith is at the forefront of everything that I do.
Let's talk about that platform, Los. What kind of pressure do you have on yourself, or what kind of pressure do you feel knowing that you're competing against these people, but at the same time, like, y'all ain't playing by the same rules? You know what I'm saying? Like you got to compete against some of the top dudes that are out there, or top battle rappers out there. I don't want to just say dudes because I've seen female battle rappers too, but y'all ain't playing by the same set of rules. Like in worldly standards, you're handicapped. Like
That's what they would say though. They would say the same thing.
yeah, like in worldly standards, like you're handicapped because there's certain things, not that you can't do, but your faith won't allow you to do. But I've seen you take it and then you twist it and you finesse it, bro. Like you
Yeah.
finesse it, you exalt the Lord, and fools are just like, dang, you know what I mean? Like I saw one where you said something about drenched in the blood, like swoop whoop, and I was like, wait, let me clip that little part, let me post that because it was too dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What
Yeah. So that's my thinking into it, right? I know that there's certain things that they could say to me and they could make the crowd go crazy just because they're just saying it. And for me, I almost feel like I do have to work harder. Not just me, but my boys too, right? Saga, A-Ward, Street Hymns. I feel like they have to work harder as well. But we take on that challenge. We know exactly what's happening once I'm in that arena. At the same time, they notice it as well. They've came up to me and was like, yo, I don't know how you do it, bro. I don't know how you do this. There's some battle rappers that obviously share the same faith, but they're just like, hey, I can't proclaim that on stage because I don't know how to either win a battle. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how that. So there's obviously things that prevent us from being in certain conversations because they kind of almost want to categorize us as the Christian battlers and we're in this genre and stuff. But the beauty about battle rap is that when you guys are standing toe to toe, like you have no other choice but to compete with this particular person, and we're gonna find out who's better. So use that. But I always tell people, Rudy, I always make sure that I tell. So one of my biggest challenges too is that I have the body over here, right, and then I have battle rap over here, and they both know me for a specific reason. However, the body sometimes they're like, you're not Christian enough. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously battle rap is like, well, you're too Christian, you're too preachy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, I'm caught in a tough spot. And so, but I try to communicate to everyone. If both of you guys want to communicate that I'm some sort of hypocrite because of what I'm doing, just you need to speak to the people that I'm really doing life with. And that includes the battle rappers. Like there's like no one in battle rap can say like, yo, I remember we was at some event and Loso did X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? Nah, like there's documentations of these guys. Like these guys know, like, yo, if they're in jail, if they're in prison, like, yo, I could call Loso, like he's gonna help me get bailed out. Or if I need something, if something's going on with my marriage, like I know I can call Loso. Praying with them, one of my boys, he was shot and in jail, bro, and he couldn't. It was tough for him to piss at night, bro, and he was crying because he was in so much pain. I'm on the phone with him. I'm talking about people. We were just in LA, and this dude comes up to us in the middle of the night, and he's like, "Yo, I just got a phone call. My mom has breast cancer," and stuff like that. Like they know, like they're coming up to us and wanting some sort of hope, some sort of light at the end of the tunnel. And they say like, man, if anybody has that, I want to communicate with this guy. And so that's where the ministry is really at. The 9-minute video, the 25-minute video that you watch on YouTube, Loso versus whoever, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. The real ministry is after, like, if I'm taking them out to eat and we're just dialoguing on, okay, is Jesus a white man's savior, or is Christianity a white man's religion, right? That's the main argument I hear a lot in battle rap. Or is there something deeper than this? Do we, like, let's communicate. Are we starting at the transatlantic slave trade, or are we talking about a religion that was in Africa years before that? And so all of these different conversations have been not just helpful for them, but helpful for my soul as well, man. So I try to encourage people, like, eat a cup of tea. Because you're like, if you believe in the gospel like I believe in the gospel, the least you can do is link arms with me and just say, okay, I may not understand what you're doing, but I have your back.
Yeah. Are there any people that you've battled against that have converted? I'm not saying like you, but I mean the Lord could have used you. It could have been a seed. It could have been a seed that was already there, and the Lord used you to water. But any fruit that you've seen with specific people that you've battled?
And yo, you know what's so crazy? I get asked that question a lot, and I always say, like, I wish I could say, yo, after I'm done with my third round, people fall to their knees and confess that Jesus is Lord. But that hasn't happened. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen that. However, I have seen people, and I am a firm believer, like, yo, there are seeds being planted, and God is going to get the increase one way or the other, right? With in certain situations, I have seen situations where people's like, yo, I went to church today for the first time,
Wow.
I've heard this, and I've opened up the Bible for the first time, or I spoke to my father for the first time, like small things like that, that I'm like, yo, those are seeds of repentance, seeds of grace here that we can work with, and so I haven't seen like a full 180, like a dude is in my, backyard. It's also difficult too because, they're not in my city. So like they have to go home, and I don't get to go ahead and do life with them. But I make sure that I'm on the phone with them a lot, as much as and I make sure that I'm available. That's one thing I want to be for these guys. Like I want to make sure that I'm available for a lot of them. So
That's
um,
big. That's big because you get a lot of dudes too in our theological camp that, like I said, they're more concerned with being right,
yeah,
but they're not even accessible. I think I pride myself in a good kind of pride, not like what I mean, getting all puffed up or anything, but just that my congregation knows that, and even my patients, because I'm also a chaplain at
yeah,
MLK Hospital in Watts, that they can call me and I'm gonna respond to them. Like I'm not gonna turn my phone on from 7 o'clock at night till 9 o'clock at night, and that's it Monday through Friday, and you know what I mean. But really available to people. That's dope, man. Um, Question for you: how long does it take you to prepare for a battle?
so a 3 round battle to write at least 3 minutes.
3 minutes. 3 minutes. 3 segments of 3 minutes.
So 9 minutes of material altogether. Yeah, you're writing more than that. So it's probably about like 10, 11 minutes or whatnot. To just write it. We're just talking about to write it. I mean, it's difficult to grade because some nights, I'll stay up all night and I can finish a round. Some nights, it'll take me 3 nights to even get like half of a round. You know what I'm saying? I would say at least like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like 2 weeks
To
to really
write.
get to write. And then I would need at least 3 days to memorize.
Wow. What? So, for all those who are listening, right, who are Christians and believers who struggle with memorizing scripture, how do you do it, or what tips can you give us? I mean, having to that's a lot of material you got to memorize, bro. And it can only be 3 minutes, but 3 minutes of you battle rapping to 3 minutes of me preaching the sermon are two totally different speeds, man.
Because you're not just memorizing what you wrote down, you're memorizing how you said it,
Hmm.
memorizing your mannerisms in which you want to go ahead and communicate when you say it. So if anybody's trying to memorize anything, I mean, there's some guys in battle rap, bro, they can write in a day, right? You tell them, hey, I want you to battle tonight, and he could probably come up with like 3 rounds. I know some guys like that. They just skip it like that. But I would say repetition for me. Writing it down helps me memorize it. So as I'm writing it, constantly saying it in my head, and then on top of that, I make voice notes. So I'm listening to it almost like a song. It's not on beat or anything, but I listen to it like that. And so, and then sharing it. So I'll call up some of my friends and I'll just rap it to them. And so it's just constant practice, so that I can engrave it into my mind. And then when it's game time, it's game time. It's in there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Um, Most embarrassing moment battle rapping.
embarrassing moment. I mean, I would say it would probably be my only loss in battle rap. I lost one time. Probably like I've had like 35 battles, but this is the battle, and I forgot my material.
You
I was
forgot
standing
your
on,
material?
yeah, bro, and it was a 1 round, but I started late. I prepped late, and so I'm on stage and
Wow.
really left my mind, bro, and so I could not, and so I end up picking it back up. I fought through it, but I messed up like 2 minutes of material, something like that. So.
Yeah. Dang, man. And
Uh,
and is this something you do full time, Los?
do, man. Yeah. So I was a teacher for a while, and so I've gotten to a place where I can um, live comfortably with the money that I make from the league that I'm a part of. They pay me very well, and on top of that, from there, so prior to COVID, I was touring. I
Hmm.
was doing a bunch of different speaking engagements and music concerts. But because it was just battle rap, I was like, man, am I going to be able to stay afloat? But I was able to. It's like I was able to go ahead and get battles pretty much monthly. If I wanted to, I could battle monthly. So I do that on top of merch. On top of me featuring on people's songs or whatnot. I'm able to kind of put together some streams of income that allow me to live comfortably.
Your boy I am A word says, give us a Bible translation that rhymes.
It's a Bible translation. I would say
Give us a Bible translation that rhymes.
NIV. Say that NIV with doesn't rhyme with anything, but ESV, see it. No, I don't know. But that's my boy Ward though. Do you know him?
I don't know him personally. I just follow him. So once I saw you, then I got hip to A Ward and to street hymns, right?
Yep.
Street
Yeah.
hymns. And I'm not so familiar with the other brother.
Saga.
Yeah. So yeah,
Ah,
I
he
know
was
of
the
him,
he
but
was
I
the
don't
first.
know them personally.
Okay. He was the
So
first.
he was A Ward was the first one.
Saga was.
Oh, okay, okay. And where are you guys at? So you're in Tampa. Where the other dudes at?
A Ward is in Kansas City, Missouri. Saga's in New York,
Hmm.
and Street Hymns is in Texas.
Okay, ain't nobody on the West Coast, man.
I don't know. So we're trying to get somebody. Hopefully, we find somebody on the West Coast soon.
I got a couple of dope rappers at our church, bro, but I don't think they're battle rappers though.
Gotcha.
What
We
was I
need
gonna say?
someone from the West Coast, and we need a female. That's what we're looking for.
Well, I got a female at my church, bro. She's fire, homie. Like I don't think she's a battle rapper, but bro, she's like fire, dude. I'm gonna have the pleasure of marrying her and her fiance in May. Her name is Melly Antoinette. Melly Antoinette, bro. She's when I say girl's bad, she's bad, man. I got my boy Sam Oxymoron too from my church. He's gonna be ready to plant a church through us in about a year or two. Bible translation. What Bible translation is your preferred and why?
ESV.
ESV.
Can't spell saved without ESV. That's why. But nah, I use that. NASB. I use NASB as well. Those would be my two preferred ones.
So
I mean, growing up and obviously when I was in school for pastoral studies, I mean those were just the two main texts that we utilize, and some of my professors, they have all basically co-signed that those two translations are the closest that we would get to like the original language. So since then, ESV and NASB.
So I agree. NASB is a little harder to read. ESV.
What's crazy? I think the ESV is a little tougher to read.
Really? See,
I use it all the time, but I feel like there's sometimes where NASB is a little softer on the ears for new time Bible readers.
Oh, okay. So I think the NASB is harder. I prefer the ESV, but when I preach, like I'm in the hood, bro. So I preach with the CSB. There's the Christian Standard Bible.
I've heard of that.
It's a Baptist-ish, group of dudes that did it, but it's legit. So there's actually a chart, Los, that shows like on the grid, like over here you got NASB, and then right next to it you got ESV, and then way over here you got the Message. You know what I mean? Like on the scale of how true it is to the original language, and the CSB is like right down the middle with readability as well as the translation, and it's just a little bit to the side of the ESV.
See what?
See, Christian Standard Bible.
I'm gonna check that out, man.
Yeah. So I've been using it, and I prefer to preach with that because it stays true to the original translation, and it's much easier on the ears for people who aren't.
I think I might just use that mug then, bro.
I'm telling you, bro. It used to be the HCSB, the Holman Christian Standard Bible. Now,
I've heard that.
Now they just dropped the H. Now it's just the Christian Standard Bible.
Yo, I trust you, bro. So I'm gonna use that.
Check it out. So when I preach, I preach my main text from the CSB, but all my subpoints I'll use ESV. And sometimes when I got some really difficult stuff and I just want to make sure everybody gets it like it was a 3-year-old, I may even throw in a message just to make sure everybody grasps the point that I'm trying to drive home, But I don't do that too often, though. Just don't tell nobody in case nobody's listening right now. But tell me about your theological education, bro. You say you said that you're a teaching pastor, right, or teaching elder.
Yeah.
What type of preparation? You mentioned professors. Are you in the seminary? You've been to seminary?
I went to Bible college, so I was at Trinity College of Florida. It's I guess their claim to fame is Billy Graham. He went there. I don't know how true that was, but I do know they raised that banner a lot. But it was a small college. It's not beautiful, like when you look at it. And it doesn't have a lot to offer, like as far as like what they like the rooms, the dorms, anything like that. No basketball gym, nothing like that. However, I tell people this all the time, at least when I went there, I would have put my professors up with anyone in the world. bro. And so I went there, did I got a bachelor's in pastoral studies and a minor in Christian counseling. And so, um, I years. And so I was thinking about going to seminary. I almost went to Philly to go to seminary, but
Yes, sir.
I did not do it, bro.
Yeah.
Westminster Theological Seminary. That's where I was going to go.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I went to Western Theological Seminary in Holland, Michigan. It's an old Dutch Reformed seminary.
Uh,
I did my MDiv there, and then I started going to Covenant Theological Seminary, PCA,
I almost went there as well.
in St. Louis. I went there for almost a year, and then my old seminary offered me a cohort that's actually in Spanish. So I'm doing my doctorate right now in Spanish, bro.
Okay.
The cohort is a pastor, Latino pastor, as a theologian for a
Uh,
more effective church. And I was like, we don't got enough Latino theologians. There's a
at
whole
all.
bunch of there's a whole bunch of dead white dudes. There's a whole bunch of solid black dudes. You know what I mean? Like, have you heard of Grimke Seminary? The homie Doug Logan started
I heard.
seminary, um, and that's based on Francis Grimke, who was a black, Presbyterian pastor. Um, but there ain't like no Latinos, bro. Like we got Justo Gonzalez, but he deals heavily with that liberation theology. You know what I mean?
I don't even know him.
You never heard of Justo Gonzalez?
I gotta check him out.
Yeah, he's got a book called Mañana,
Okay.
and then one of the best church history books, 2 volumes that I've read. It was actually in seminary. Was from Justo Gonzalez. He's a Cuban theologian. Got some dope stuff, but like I said, he leans a little heavy on the liberation theology. So you just got to put a little filter on that. But anyways, all that to say, I want to be able to give some hood stuff, bro. Like the podcast is called Hood Grace. We're planting churches in the hood and hard places and under-resourced areas because all the dope churches that were here at some time, they left with white flight, and they just left it open to all the prosperity pushing pimps. You know what I mean? And the universalists, and there's nothing solid around here. And our people in the hoods, they need solid theology too. So that's kind of where we're at. You know what I mean? So, bro, anything that you want to share with us? I want to be mindful of your time. I don't want to keep you on here forever. But anything else you want to share with us that you haven't yet said?
No, man. I mean, if anybody was watching and they wanted to, hear more about me, you go to everythingloso.com. That's my website. That's where you can find my social media outlets. That is where you can see past battles, check out my music. If you want to donate to the ministry, you can do that from there. Buy some merch. You can do all of that through that website. So, other than that, man, hopefully we do this again, bro. I definitely, if you ever have a topic that you just want to discuss about, I would love to just jump on here and do
Talk
that.
about baptizing babies. When you have babies, like, you gonna baptize them?
Of course.
And if anybody's in Tampa, what's the name of your church? Where's it at? What time do they got to be there? How are you guys doing ministry right now?
Yeah, Faith Endeavor Church, bro.
What's it called again?
Faith Endeavor. So
Faith
Faith Endeavor Church. We're in North Tampa, but if you're in Tampa, man, just DM me, just shoot me a DM. I can get you the address. We meet Sundays at 10:30 a.m. and then Thursdays at 7. So
And are y'all meeting right now? Actually?
yeah, 7 p.m. in about an hour or so.
Oh, okay. So Sundays you guys are meeting in person too.
Oh, are you asking? Are we meeting in person right now?
Actually meeting in person.
Yeah.
Cool. We're gonna be transitioning the first Sunday of March. We'll be going back into our church building with all the
You're LA, bro. You gotta understand. Like I tell people in Tampa, yo, it's reckless out here, bro. Like,
Really?
oh yeah, bro. Like you gotta think about it, man. We just had the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? We hosted the NBA playoffs and the champion, like all that stuff in Florida. Whatever you guys are experiencing out there, when you get to Florida, it's like, regular life. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of difficult. It's not like crazy, but I tell people, I'm like, look, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The clubs are open out here. People playing basketball. Now, people are still strict in certain areas, and you still got to wear your mask in certain places. But asking if we meet up, that's why in my mind I was like, I didn't even think about that because we've been meeting up, and so is everybody else. But I was just in LA, and it was difficult because I was like, yo, man, I want to go to a bar and watch the game and get something to eat. None of that.
Bro, you gotta promise next time you come to LA, let me know. I'll take you to the dopest street tacos and
Good, man. Say no more, bro. Like I said, man, I was right in Compton battling, bro. So I wish I would have contacted, but I'm gonna do that next time.
I'm like literally 2 blocks away from Compton, but yeah, I'll give you the TMZ hood tour.
Yeah.
The hood
Let's do it.
tour, So if anybody is in Tampa, Faith Endeavor Church, On Sundays, 10 a.m., 10:30, you said?
Yeah. Yep.
10:30 a.m. And y'all already know, if you're anywhere in the Lynwood, Compton, or Watts area, Sundays 12 noon, Lynwood Middle School right now for Reformed Church LA. We'll be going back into the church building on the first Sunday of March 7th. But see, here is different, Los, because here, like, the city of Lynwood and Watts, like, we're like the epicenter of the epicenter. You know, Rachel Maddow on MSNBC just did a big old piece like a week and a half ago, and she put Lynwood on the map, like this little city right here. I work next door in Watts at MLK Community Hospital, who's been on like New York Times, LA Times, on CNN, just like how crazy it is right there with the second surge. But by the grace of God, it seems like things are starting to calm down a little bit. Hopefully, get back to some type of normalcy around here, because yo, this mug is played out, man. You know,
I know.
I want to see my church fam and just hug them and put my arm around them, and we're doing the best we can. We're not letting it get the best of us, but we've had to pivot a couple times, but by the grace of God, we're still here, man, you know? But hey, bro, I appreciate you. I bless you. I thank you for all that you do, for holding it down in arenas where you shouldn't be according to worldly standards, but you're there giving it up, pointing people to the risen Savior. So may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you, be gracious to you, and grant you peace, my boy.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, bro.
Bless you, man. Thanks for watching, everybody.